join me in welcoming the amazing Patch Adams.
Thank you. You know, I know with my name is that attachment that laughter is the best medicine. But I want you to hear me. Friendship is the best medicine. Laughter is a great grease for friendship. But in my polling of everybody I've ever talked to, it looked like friends were the things that was the most important thing in their life. And that's why I wanted to be a doctor whose ideal patient was somebody who wanted a deep personal friendship with me for life. That was my fantasy patient, because then I knew I would get something good. Okay, I want to tell you about a hero, okay, and it's very interesting. I learned about this in a British medical journal, Lancet. It's their puffy magazine, but it's much more political than our magazines. And I read about a doctor in Georgia, Dr. Denmark. Anyone heard of her? Okay, well, yeah, another radical, medical, crazy person. Well, this is my current hero, and I'll tell you why. One, we had to hear about her from a British medical journal, even though she's an American physician. She died at the age of 114. Okay, so you want her trick. Okay, she died at the age of 114, became a pediatrician in 1922. Practiced for 70 years. She retired from her practice at 103. However, she didn't want to give up medicine, so she did a phone consultation till 110. Price of her visit? Hold your wallet, $10. Now, why this person isn't on the front page as the most magnificent human being in medicine in America in our history, I don't know. But talk about her, Dr. Denmark. Maybe that's the problem. Dr. New York. Something. Okay, I actually call this talk Medicine for Fun, Not Funds, because I noticed the word fun was in the word funds. And I've been a fundraiser for 42 years, and I'm still happy. So what I want to do is briefly talk about our work for the people who may not know about it. And then I want to tell you what you can do in your own community that sounds disgustingly easy, and then talk about healthcare delivery. I find it inexcusable that we do not take care of everybody equally in this country. So I don't know why our entire nation hasn't risen up. That is the most uncomfortable medical truth that I'm now experiencing, is that things are so bad, and almost no one, if you look at the 7+ billion people, are actually rising up. Okay, so I'm here to remind you that rise up. You can find out later what you're rising up for. But get involved. I mean, this doctor wanted to do phone consultations at 110. God, I'd have paid her 20. Okay, so I entered medical school in 1967 as a political activist. I dream of a world where no one alive can remember what the word war means. That's my goal. You have to look it up in an old dictionary, and then they won't believe the definition that humans would do that. Okay, so I thought at the crux of that, we had to take one of the most expensive things in our country and make it a model for a world that would be different. So I didn't have to study medicine because things were easy for me in medical school. I studied healthcare delivery systems with the idea to create a hospital that would show that you could address every single problem of the way healthcare was delivered in one model. Not the answer, but simply a showing that we're doing our fantasy, what's yours? And so in 1971, when I graduated, we started the Gesundheit Institute. Nobody gave us a hospital. Surprise! So we either could wait until I got a foundation grant, which would be still, or we could do it with what we had. So 20 adults and our children, 3 of us physicians, moved into a large 6-bedroom house and said we were a hospital, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, for all manner of medical problems from birth to death. Everyone was welcome. We wanted you to actually not think you had to be sick or have an appointment. In fact, our fantasy family would come and stay 2 or 3 days when they're well, so we'd create a sanctuary nature of the environment and try to find at least one playmate that lives there. And the idea was that people need time, that we need to form a relationship. So an initial relationship with an adult patient for me was 4 hours. And I'm really an intense person. I ask every question sensitive to life. To whatever you never wanted to talk to anybody about, I probably find out in those 4 hours. Because I know if I know everything about you, I'll make a more intelligent statement when you're asking me something in some way to be useful for you. Because I'm going to think it's all important because I've read all of Dickens twice. So I like complicated. And in spending that kind of time with patients, we found that 3% of the people I interviewed had self-esteem. Less than 5% had any idea what a day-to-day vitality for life was about. Yay, life! In fact, the normal adult didn't like themselves, didn't like their marriage, and didn't like their job, and that wasn't why they were coming to the doctor. And guess what? I didn't get a single lecture on any of those things. And so we also decided never to give psychiatric medicine, which explains the next 2 talks I'm giving at the fair, Living a Life of Joy and What is Your Love Strategy? So that's why we integrated medicine with performing arts and crafts and agriculture and nature, education, recreation, social service as a context to be a hospital, a place to, because the fantasy was no burnout, you know. My God, I can't believe I'm playing doctor here. I want more. That was a fantasy. And so we also realized that we wanted a staff whose qualities were happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. We'd prefer that they didn't have to use us as a place to learn those things, that they go, that's my tribe, happy, funny, loving, cooperative, creative, and thoughtful. We needed it to be free for everybody, and we didn't want it to be free for poor people. We wanted to eliminate the idea of debt in the medical interaction because we feel that there's a great need in our world to reconnect with the we, that we are one people. If we were healthy, we would be together. So we wanted that you not think that you owed something no matter what we did, but that you belonged to something, and that something was something you could also nurture as a we. We never had anything to do with health insurance because we never heard anyone say anything nice about an insurance company. We never, and have been the only hospital to refuse to carry malpractice insurance because we needed the right to make a mistake. And instantly, even though it was against the law for all complementary medicine except chiropractic, we broke the law and allowed all practitioners of all the healing arts come and work with us, as long as they didn't charge money and let us watch. And in those days, they were a lot weirder than they are now, because my profession was calling it all quackery. It's a little different now. So we saw a lot of people. We saw 15,000 people. 3,000 had severe, profound mental health histories, and we never gave psychiatric medicine. My longest hug was 12 hours. It's very theatrical and fun. And so what we realized after doing this 12 years, never having anything resembling a private life, being constantly a house full of really neediness, human desperation for connection and friendship and life, that was pretty much round the clock for 12 years. And I realized I liked it, but that it wasn't a healthy thing for the whole team. And so we realized that for us to continue, we needed an actual design of something that we had 12 years to think about what we wanted it to look like. For example, a room for each staff person. Yay. And being the worst fundraiser in American history for such a nice project, because we've designed a hospital that eliminates 90% of the cost. Fully modern, technical, and we wanted to get rid of hierarchy, since that's one of the global real concerns, that doctors are rude, arrogant pricks in every country, and bossy. And not all doctors, and if you're a doctor offended in the crowd, you might check yourself, but you certainly can't be in an American hospital and not see how hierarchy hurts it. So at our hospital, everyone makes the same salary, $300 a month. The cleaning person, the surgeon, all the full-time staff lives at the hospital as a communal eco-village, because nuclear family was a really stupid environmental decision. It's the largest environmental footprint that we can take 120 to 100 staff people and have them live on what would normally in West Virginia be a footprint for a nuclear family, and do it as a hospital and do it for free because of the communal eco-village nature and lowering the cost. So we closed our doors. We went public in 1984. We had refused publicity before that. We don't have a respect for the media. But we knew that that's what sells in America. So I knew I'd have to sell myself, and to the ultimate in absurdity, to have a movie with my name on it in my life, which shows you how low I would go in order to get this hospital. You know, to be in that world is not, I'm a servant. I can work tirelessly all the time in horrible human environments and love every second. And I've collected people who like that. They like being loving, and the more complicated, the more interesting. And so we closed our doors, and if we imagine that we studied healthcare for individuals and families in those 12 years, which is, you know, medical education is disease care, well, actually disease business care, disease business medicine, let's call it. We've got to get the word care out of it. That selling what we're doing, it might interest you. I'm over 1,800 in foundation grants, okay? So that's how bad a record I have. And I only apply to foundations that say they want to help healthcare delivery. We get no education in the being well. We got no education in being a healthy family, and there were almost none. And no education in being unhealthy family, healthy community, unhealthy community, world, unhealthy world. That the environment was never once mentioned in my medical education. And so these last 29 years, we have been going all over the world trying to do something with the tiny amount of money we had. While I was raising money and then other people joined the fundraising team, we started our clown trips. We started in 1985 and did Russia as the only one for over 10 years. And then with the movie, the movie didn't bring me money, but brought me a very large speaker fees. And that made it possible not to build a hospital, because our hospital is a $50 million a year expense just to get it paid for. But I could talk and make $20,000, and that could pay for a clown trip to somewhere. So now we do 9 a year. We've gone into war 3 times in countless refugee camps in a number of countries. We do college spring break trips. We do trips where we combine with the School for Designing a Society that combines social change and clowning. If you just want raw clowning, we've taken ages 3 to 88. We don't require any experience. If you're wearing a clown costume, you become a grand master. Because the nice thing about clowning is everything is a character. So one of the characters is a person saying, they're going, oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. And so you try to juggle 3 balls, you never even catch one. And you stand there, the worst failure in history, and people are going, wow, they're really good.